Welcome to the award-winning Gail Scott Key's Entertainment Now. 5 years and counting, a show that highlights the great talent from the past to the present, as well as featuring new talent you'll hear more about in the future. And now, here's radio and TV broadcaster and your host, Gail Scott Key.
Hi, welcome back to Gail Scott Key's special edition of Entertainment Now, only on Tap the Mic Radio. We are doing a special segment this evening that is dedicated to what's been going on as of late with regards to George Floyd, how it has changed with racism in corporate America, and how it's being addressed. And this is why I'm having this special, so we're doing something a little bit different. Joining me will be CEO of the corporate company Qlik, Mike Capone, joined with Senior Vice President of Global Marketing at Qlik, Kathi Kaplan. So don't go anywhere, and we hope that this special will do a lot for you, opening the eyes, starting the conversation, and helping everyone to be more united when it comes to racism in corporate America.
All we say to America is be true to what you said on paper.
Corporate America has pledged to address racism since the George Floyd protest, but some businesses are taking the pledge further, committing to changes in their practices. Hello, I'm your host, Gail Scott Key, and thank you so much for joining me this half hour on my show, Gail Scott Key's Entertainment Now, only on Tap the Mic Radio. Hey, listen, don't worry. You're in the right place, as I know you're usually listening to me, and I'm talking with some of your favorite stars, but I promise you, this half hour, I hope you don't mind that I shine the spotlight on two individuals with whom I highly respect. And at the end of this broadcast, I promise you, you will too. I can personally tell you how one software company, headquartered in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, has a company-wide diversity and inclusion program called Qlik for All. The mission of this program is to raise awareness and create a community of inclusion across Qlik, regardless of gender, race, sexual orientations, beliefs, and backgrounds. Yes, folks, believe it or not, it's true. And I'm honored to have joining me this half hour, Qlik CEO Mike Capone and Kathi Kaplan, Senior Vice President of Global Marketing and Diversity and Inclusion, to discuss how they plan to lead the change for Qlik's employees. Mike, Kathi, thank you so much for joining me this half hour.
It's a great pleasure, Gail.
Happy to be here. Mike, we're going to start with you. Qlik's vision is a data-literate world where everyone can use data and analytics to help with their most challenging problems. So we've created this, okay? We've created this foundation so everybody will understand what does Qlik do. Now, Qlik does business in more than 100 countries, and it serves over 50,000 customers around the world. Qlik will now be known for being one of the companies who joins others to speak racism. Now, companies are usually radio silent when it comes to public upheaval, as we've all seen in the past couple of weeks. So, Mike, I want to get an understanding. What compelled you, as the CEO of Qlik, to speak up and want to make a change for not only your Black employees, but all of your employees that encounter racism or bias?
Sure, Gail. Well, first, just again, thank you for having me on the show. I'm truly honored to be here. It's really a great opportunity.
Thank you.
For me, of course, for me, look, companies, they like to hide behind the corporate things that they do, to kind of address these issues, right? So, we have our training program, we have our code of conduct and all of our policies, and, that's sort of the wrapper that people put around these things. But, that's just not good enough. And even for me personally, this is, you have to, as a leader, you have to work at this, because, I was born in the Bronx, Gail. I grew up in a very racially mixed environment. And so to me, you're not Gail, my black coworker. You're Gail, my coworker, who I love, who makes me laugh, who always has a kind thing to say. And that's how I think about you. But look, that's not how everybody thinks. And more importantly, I'm not walking a mile in your shoes or in other of our black employees' shoes, and trying to understand how they feel. So this upheaval was really an eye-opener, because it gave us a chance to connect to our African-American employees and other groups as well. But obviously, with the George Floyd situation, there was a great amount of focus on the black community. And we heard, Gail, from our employees, and it was an eye-opener for me, and it did compel me, and Kathi, who you talk with later, as well as other leaders inside of Qlik, to speak up, and not just talk about all the policies and the training, but really talk about the culture and drive the culture. That's what motivated all of us. And you know what? It's been amazing, the response from all the employees inside of Qlik in terms of our leadership in this area.
It absolutely has been, and I'll tell you, sitting in on the meetings that we've had that you and Kathi have led, it compelled me so much, and that's why I'm calling attention to this show. I'm calling attention to both of you, because I applaud you both. It's a risk, because let's face it, out in corporate America, you don't hear this all the time, and you hit the nail on the head, Mike. With the upheaval going on, a lot of people might want to look away, or they might say, okay, this isn't our cross to bear, so let's just move along. But when we have started this initiative, and since Qlik has been more vocal with your employees that you don't tolerate racism, what specifically has been the reaction that you've received from the employees at Qlik?
Gail, it's been, quite frankly, it's been overwhelming. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm emotionally touched by some of the conversations I've had. I know you're part of a group of black employees that we put together, that we did a Zoom call with, and just solicited feedback and input. But it's been greatly appreciated. But it's also opened a bunch more doors, right? We're tapping into just a great group of people who've got, a lot of great things to say, and also a lot of great guidance for us, in terms of how we can be more inclusive as a company. And, we pride ourselves on inclusion. And I think we were doing a good job. Like, I don't think that anyone would point to Qlik and say, you were doing a bad job before. It's about time you got around to this. That's not the case at all. But we could be better, and we should be better, and we should be more attuned. And that's what's happening. And then, the other thing that always happens when you do things like this, when you open these doors, is you start to hear about things that people were maybe afraid to bring up in the past. I hate to liken it to like the Me Too movement, because it's not a necessarily one-for-one comparison, but and then people started to be okay talking about experiences they've had or situations they were in that made them uncomfortable. And thankfully there was nothing really egregious. It was more around ignorance and people not comprehending sort of the unconscious bias they had in certain situations. But it was great because people were able to speak up, and then we were able to understand it and deal with it, and introduce mechanisms to further train people, to further sensitize people. So it's been incredibly valuable. It's been cathartic in terms of everything we've been able to learn.
It really, really has. And we're going to take a quick break and with Mike, and we're going to add the Senior VP of Global Marketing, Kathi Kaplan, to join in on the conversation. So please, you don't want to miss this. Don't go anywhere. And we'll be back with more of Gail Scott Keyes' Entertainment Now, only on Tap the Mic Radio.
Hi, I'm Colette Portis, inviting you to my new podcast, The Realized Destiny Radio Show, Monday through Friday, 3 Central, 4 Eastern. I'll be having conversations with seasoned entrepreneurs from all walks of life who will be giving you the tools you need to move your vision forward, because success leaves clues. The new Realized Destiny Radio Show with me, Colette Portis, Monday through Friday, 3 Central, 4 Eastern on tapthemicradio.com.
Closer to my dreams. Are you looking for an impactful speaker for your next virtual event? The Hill Agency International has exactly what you need. Our powerful speakers are guaranteed to take your event to the next level. We have inspirational, motivational, entertainment, and educational speakers. Whatever you need to impact the room, the Hill Agency International will deliver. Whether an in-person event or the new norm of virtual events, we have the speaker you need to transform your audience. Visit us today online at thehillagencyintl.com and check out our roster of speakers. No matter the topic or theme, the Hill Agency has exactly what you need. Call us today at 214-561-7522. 214-561-7522. That's 214-561-7522 and book your speaker today.
Hey, welcome back. You're tuning into Gail Scott Key's Entertainment Now, only on Tap the Mic Radio. Don't forget to join me for an encore presentation of my show every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, and download the neat app. Tune in on your Android or iPhone and take the show on the go with you so we will never be apart. Listen, you've tuned in for a spectacular half hour. I know that you're used to hearing stars, but I've got two stars that I truly am honored to have on the show with me this half hour. We've been speaking before the break with Mike Capone, who is the CEO of Qlik, which is one of the largest data integration and analytics software companies headquartered in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Joining us now on this half of the conversation, Kathi Kaplan, who is a Senior VP of Global Marketing for Qlik. Kathi, you personally have been involved in not only supporting Mike's decision to create the Qlik for All task force, but what exactly has the additional role meant for you? And tell us why it's been so important to be embodied within the company.
Yes, thank you very much for having me on the show tonight, and I'm super excited to share with you my thoughts. So as you know, I run the global digital marketing at Qlik, but the opportunity for me to develop our strategy for diversity and inclusion and create a program for Qlik really enables me to contribute and really have an impact on our culture and making Qlik a much more inclusive place for everyone. That's why I was really excited to do it. The reason it's important that we embody a more diverse and inclusive culture where everyone feels that they belong is that we actually know through research that organizations that have inclusive cultures and cultures where people feel they belong, those types of companies are 2 times more likely to meet or exceed their financial targets. They're actually 3 times more likely to be a high-performing company, and they're 6 times more likely to be more innovative and agile because when you have more diverse individuals, you have more diversity of thought.
Now, I'm honored to be one of the proud ERG team members, Kathi and Mike, and I was moved by both of your hearts, complete honesty, and wanting to hear from Qlik's Black employees about how to make our experience as employees at Qlik's one that's appreciated and valued. I already felt that way prior to the sad events that took place in Minneapolis, as you both know. Kathi, can you share what other employee resource groups have been created for Qlik's employees to be members of and celebrate the different underrepresented groups?
Absolutely, Gail. We are fortunate to have 5 employee resource groups. All of the groups are global in nature, and the groups we have today are a Women in Technology, a Latinos group, Black Alliances, LGBTQ, and a We Together from our Lund office in Sweden. And these groups really focus on being inclusive from a membership perspective in that we really want members of those communities, the underrepresented groups, to be involved, but we also want their allies and supporters. And that's what really makes a strong ERG. And we look to our ERGs to really be the voice of that group to tell us what are they feeling, what's going on, and how can we help them, and how can we make Qlik a more inclusive culture. And we really want them to help us bring about change, whether that's change in policy, whether that's education within the company, whether that's training, but they really have an impact on helping us with our strategy for the Qlik for All program. They are focused a lot on what I just mentioned, which is internally focused, making our culture more diverse, inclusive, and one of belonging. But they're also starting to take on some initiatives where they look outside of our company and how can we take what it is Qlik does and trying to make a better data literate world, and how can we offer some of our services or our consulting to some underrepresented groups in different parts of the world. And so the ERGs will also be looking at some Latino groups or women's groups, African American groups, and seeing how we can start to also have an impact with underrepresented groups in the community.
Mike, sitting in on the discussion with your Qlik employees, what has opened your eyes more and confirmed why creating the Qlik for All task force that Kathi has been speaking about was the right decision for Qlik?
Well, Gail, first let me say that I don't know what I would do without Kathi. She's very modest, and she runs our entire corporate marketing team. And so throughout all this, while we were dealing with the COVID crisis, while we were transferring our global user conference to be a virtual online conference, which Kathi was responsible for, she also pulled together all of these programs. She's just an amazing lady, amazing individual, and Qlik is lucky to have her, as I'm sure people who are listening in can hear. On the Qlik for All task force, what it really was about was it was about tying in the employees to our mission. We always talk about diversity, and we believe in diversity. I've always believed in diversity. There's no doubt that companies whose employees are reflective of the communities that they live in and serve are going to be stronger and better. And diversity just leads to greater thought, greater decision making, and quite frankly, a more powerful company. It's really the inclusion and belonging thing that we needed to really hone in on. And it was a chance for us to actually get underneath the facade of, kind of the corporate world, and just hear personal stories and personal examples. And then more importantly, get these small groups together. Kathi talked about it. We tapped into them. And then they gave us great ideas on things we could do around education, around different listening forums, how to engage, and then, what resources were available. And it's been excellent. I'll give you one great example, which is, we were just talking about something as simple as voting, right? Something as simple as voting. Mm-hmm. And our Qlik's policy allows time off for voting. You get 2 hours to go vote on election days and primary days. But guess what? Like, you've all seen the news lately. We had one employee from Atlanta who said, look, in my neighborhood, in my district, it's an all-day thing. Like, I might have to wait online for 8 hours, right? And just hearing those things and addressing them and just telling managers, be sensitive to your employees, be sensitive to their situations. Little things like that came out of it. It's been amazing, and it's really changed the outlook of not only my senior team for sure, but a lot of management in the company about how to listen differently to our employees.
Kathi, what has it meant for you, and what has it revealed to you with having the same conversations, the dialogue with the Qlik employees? What has that done for you?
I think it really opens your eyes. I mean, we all think we're not biased, and we all live, a very privileged life. And I think when you really have what are these brave conversations, and you really talk to people about what is going on in the world today, and you ask them, how are you feeling? How is that impacting you? And if you share your personal story, then they share theirs. And it really opens your eyes to what are some of the situations that people face that I may have never faced. Mike gave the voting example. That was an eye-opener for me. I've never waited in line to vote for 6 hours. So I think that this is a journey that we're going on as a company, and I think it is empowering and training our managers on how to be inclusive leaders and how to listen and how to have what I'm calling brave conversations and really start talking about these things that have a difference and have an impact on individuals, things that we may not face, and really how can we bring that back to the work environment to make people feel, that they really belong in the company. And for me, it's been extremely meaningful because I think The feedback that I've gotten from our employees is that this makes a big difference, and people feel even more pride working for Qlik, knowing that we're doing this, knowing that we're talking about it. We did a big initiative around Pride Month this year internally, and a bunch of employees came back and said, Qlik's never done this. This means so much to me. I'm really appreciative that you did that. So I think it's seeing the reaction of the employees and having people open up about their own situations. It's really made it a much more genuine conversation.
I can't even express to you both how much I really am so honored to have both of you on the show, to have this dialogue. And I know that the listeners are sitting there going, wait a minute, where can I go? Because maybe they have been waiting for this. Maybe they have been hoping that their company would have this conversation, but unfortunately they fall short. Well, I hope you guys out there listening, especially in the corporate world, will take a page out of CEO Mike Capone and Senior VP of Marketing Kathi Kaplan's book at Qlik, and that's Qlik. And I'll tell you why. I've never been more honored. I've never been more compelled. I've never been more at home than being with this company. And if you too are looking for that change, if you too are struggling how to have the conversation with your employees, then please, you can download this show once I make it available. As you know, you can visit on my website. But I'm setting myself apart and aside because, as I said, these two are the stars in my books. They're having a conversation that years and years and years ago may have been tough to say in the corporate world, but guess what? They're having it, and you need to join in, and you have it with your employees. And if not, hey, we've got two wonderful people on the line with me right now, so let me help you further. Mike, Kathi, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I also want to give you both the last say of where the listeners can go to check out more information on the website. I want to have them hear it from you both because you two are incredible.
Oh, thanks, Gail. I'll say there's a lot of companies doing a lot of great things out there, we're one of them, but we're not the only ones. So I do applaud all the other CEOs and diversity champions like Kathi out there. But look, we'd love to hear from all your listeners. It's Qlik.com, very easy, Qlik.com. Go in, you can check out all about the company, and there is sections on our diversity, and it's probably there's a big commercial for Qlik, but there's also job postings out there. So go crazy.
Wonderful. Thank you. CEO Mike Capone, Kathi Kaplan, Senior VP of Marketing from Qlik, Qlik, and I will be back with a follow-up, but I want to thank you both for taking the time to have this educational and very moving discussion with me. It's the first that we've had, and I wanted to make sure that I brought it to all of you listeners because it's so important to have. Create the dialogue. And don't go anywhere. I'll be right back right after the break.
Hi, this is Tina E. inviting you to the Smooth Jazz Weekend Radio Show every Saturday and Sunday at 12 Eastern and 1 Central on Tap-to-Mike Radio for only the best of indie jazz. That's every Saturday and Sunday at 12 Eastern, 1 Central for the Smooth Jazz Weekend Radio Show on TapTheMikeRadio.com.
CBD and coffee, a match made in heaven? Caffeine makes you jittery, and CBD can decrease stress and feelings of nervousness. Find out why nearly every local coffee shop is now selling CBD-infused coffee blends. And right now, get 20% off your first order at TribeTokes.com with your promo code TAP20. Whether you use CBD for stress and anxiety or a balance with your morning coffee, Tribe Tokes is built by girls, powered by plants. Visit TribeTokes.com and use promo code TAP20.